Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Let's take a look here at Bitcoin. Ooh, up 4%. What a big deal, huh? Take a look at this. We can see the price action bouncing off 76,560. Keep in mind there was a CME gap down there that did get filled fully, right there at that lower 77K range. So just know that the next potential target, don't hold me to this, is that $84,000 to $86,000 range with the previous CME gap that was created this past weekend. So just know that that's kind of a thing. We'll take a look at that and a few other things too, but generally speaking, there is motivation for the price to go a little higher now that we've tentatively bottomed out. My speculation is that we're going to see some resistance at 84,000. That might be a good consideration for a short, but between now and then, we don't just blindly jump into a short. We want to make sure that we are on the right track and kind of understand, some back-end data too. So hit that like button, comment below if you get a chance. Let me know where you at with Bitcoin. You think it's going to drop to the ground floor, or you think the bottom's in? I think we're getting close to the bottom. It may or may not be in fully, but I think tentatively, yes. Main reason why I believe that is because this significant amount of liquidation that's swept too. About 90% of that macro liquidation is gone. We do have some left here between 75.6 and 76.5. But that's just kind of a little bit of a range there that's effectively established here recently with the late longs. So I really feel like the motivation to go any lower is getting lower, right? But again, fundamentally, or just from a technical standpoint, the bottom's tentatively in, but we also got to recognize our previous all-time high of 74,000-ish, right in that range. That range is going to be potentially retested too, and fundamentally, if we have some more nonsense, more tweets about tariffs, we could very much see the price go down. Okay, so just some things to kind of throw out there. Another thing that I thought was interesting too, I'll show you that. I'll post that a little later. There's a really cool graph that kind of shows the traditional markets too and where we're at. But as far as local liquidation, we can see it's sparse, but it's present. Okay, we got a lot of shorts that could get hit here soon, but there's no major significant level that we got to watch out for. I would say that the key level supports and resistances are in play. 81,800, I mentioned that yesterday, being a potential resistance, has worked so far for the couple of retests that we've seen. Doesn't mean we're not going to break it. Just implies that first time we're going to see some resistance. So my hope is the price does break that, and then we hit some false breakouts there, and we take some shorts in the 84K range, closer to that CME gap. We take a look here though. Liquidation delta, it's right around 14 billion. That's quite a lot, but the key takeaway here is that we're still very bearish, and the price action is going down. So that's just kind of what we're looking at there. Another thing to recognize too here as well is we can see the back end data here about 79 to 80,000 for open interest. So people are starting to take some longs here, and they're finally in profit. So congrats on that. I was adding to my spot bag pretty heavy in that range. So happy about that myself. I hope you did the same for you. But you got to recognize we're not by any stretch totally good to go. And we just take a long because we tentatively bottomed out yet. We need to see more higher highs and higher lows to really get some confidence in taking a trade. And even at that point, I'm going to be pretty concerned, pretty gun shy, I guess you could say, to try to take a long in this market. So having said that, though, we can see we're underneath all moving averages on the daily. We're trending towards 50 in the RSI, but still nothing close. We're moving a little bit above that, our moving average there. Money flow index is coming up. These are all generally signs that are normal when you see a bottom. I wouldn't say that the bottom is in, but when you see this type of overextension going towards that of a bottom, But you got to keep in mind, we still haven't hit 30 on the RSI on the daily time frame, so we're truly not that far overextended on the macro. It's more so the smaller time frames that we could see that. So what does that all mean? Well, it means that we're still bearish in the daily, and we shouldn't presume that the price is going to recover otherwise. However, what we want to look at on the 4-hour here is this transition, and the transition to be able to kind of identify a shift in momentum. It comes in a few different ways, but mainly this descending trend that we're seeing here. We want to break this shorter term trend line, and this is running concurrent with the 20-day SMA. So I think it's a good indication of where we're at, because in the last 20 days we've seen the price action still has yet to break this descending trend. Essentially just telling us that the bears are in control, and until they release that control, we're going to see the price continue lower. Every time we come up to try to test that range, it gets rejected out. So once more, if I mentioned this previously, this 82.8 upwards of 84,000, we got this resistance channel. If the price gets into that range, it's safe to presume the price will probably reject out or have difficulty crossing that level. There's multiple reasons, but simply put, those are local lows and previous larger time frame highs that are working as that resistance. When we look here at the 4-hour though, we're under 50 on the RSI, stochastic swinging up, money flow is low. These are all still generally unfavorable signs. We can see with stochastic swinging up and still under 50 here, getting rejected at that 82K range. There's a distinct probability we're not going to break, straight through that right away. Now, I think we're going to still see the price continue higher from here? I have that feeling. Yeah, I think that we're going to, the bears are going to just let people pump the price action a little bit further before they decide to sell. That may happen at the end of today's trading day and or the beginning of Asian markets opening. They've been notoriously selling very hard, very, very quick. As soon as that happens, it's roughly 5 p.m. Pacific. So what I want to do here is talk a little bit about the hourly, and then we'll call it a day here for you. Just kind of let you know that these are things that we want to look for when taking a potential long position. Not that I even really want to, condone a long in this market, but simply put here, to make it basically really simple, is to just understand we want to be above the cloud at the very least to be able to have any kind of legs to stand on before we want to consider a long. There's a little bit of fair value gap here left, remaining upwards closer about 83,000 is a round number. But if you see here, we're establishing higher lows so far. So if that can continue, then we're probably going to see the price continue higher. Big surprise, right? That's generally how that works. But I think the key takeaway here is that we're still a long ways away from getting back on track. And if you take a look here, we kind of zoom into the the local range here. Ever since we've been in this 85,000 or lower, we can see there's a lot of control at about 81.5 and in this range here. So what that basically tells us here is we got this as working as a resistance. If we can close above 81.5 today, there's a decent chance we're going to continue to push towards that $84,000 mark. Another thing to recognize too, and this is I highlight this in the beginning, but just kind of give you some perspective here. We do have the CMA gap that was created this past weekend between 84,100 and 85.9, basically 84 and 86,000. So this little guy here is potentially going to get hit, and we can see, of course, this pretty significant relief rally as soon as the previous CME gap was filled. Now, it's not to say that that was the reason for it. Right? There was a lot of things, things had to cool off, but once you hit that overextension, you sweep those areas, it's coming for the price to recover back to the next one, and that's what we're seeing here. So I'm definitely going to be interested in a short around 84 to 86,000 if we see that level again. We may not come that high though. We'll see here soon how this short-term descending trend treats us. So at this point, best to just be patient, kind of wait it out. Honestly, folks, it's not like, these are not awesome trading conditions, and the amount of swing trades I've sent this month is very minimal. And honestly, it's been challenging to be able to secure profits. I'm noticing, and I was talking about my community with this here too, with our plus trades here. I mean, our trading bot is killing it right now. I mean, we're using $50 per trade, up almost $610 in 40 days, somewhere in that range, right? Actually about 41 days. And it may not seem like a lot, but to be able to have this kind of benefit, it works out very well. And the reason I want to highlight this though is because these are scalps and these are quick trades that do not require confirmation. I was talking about, confirming factors being a very difficult thing right now. The longer you wait for confirmation, the more likely you're to get faked out. It's just kind of the market right now. And unfortunately, a lot of swing traders use that method, which I do too. So swing trades have not been phenomenal, no doubt about it. But if you know anyone who's swing trading effectively in this market, I'd love to hear about it, because I don't think it's possible. Obviously, swing trading to the downside is a different story, but you never truly know where the bottom's at. It's a funky market, folks. No other way around it. So the key takeaway I would say is to make sure you secure profits when you can. Don't get super greedy. Obviously, you can be greedier on shorts than you can longs at this point, but the tentative bottom is in now that this gap has been filled, and we'll see where that takes us, okay? So I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks so much for your time. Look forward to working with you if you want to become a better trader. Again, CryptoCash.tech is a site. Premium Plus is what you're looking for if you're considering that passive income, that automated day trading. Otherwise, I hope you have a phenomenal rest of your day. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.